Ruy Lopez opening, Morphy defense, closed, Yates, Bogoljubov variation, 10.d5 na5 11.bc2 c6. Balanced, neither player ever had an advantage. That game was pretty competitive. Both players had an amazing opening. That was an incredible middle game by both players. Sharp games are frequently the result of starting with the king's pawn, since it dominates the center and frees up the bishop and queen on the light squares. A typical answer is e5, which builds a position in the middle, controls d4, and frees up the queen and bishop on the dark square. The move nf3 advances the knight toward the center, engages the e5 piece in combat, and sets up a castle. nc6 defends the pawn on e5, advances the knight toward the center, and scans the d4 square. The Ruy Lopez opening develops the bishop to immediately attack the knight on c6, the lone defender of the e5 pawn. a6 forces the bishop to decide, exchange or retreat. ba4 safely retreats the bishop while keeping pressure on the knight. nf6 attacks the undefended e4 pawn and develops the knight at the same time. Castling gets the king out of the center and prepares to develop the rook to e1. b7 develops the dark squared bishop and prepares to castle. 1 rupee centralizes the rook and protects the e4 pawn. b5 gains space on the queen side and forces the bishop to the b3 square. bb3 is forced, but the bishop is well placed because it attacks the f7 square. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. c3 prepares the d4 pawn push, opens up the c2 square for the bishop and allows the queen to develop on the queen side. The e5 pawn is supported by d6 and the bishop on light squares can advance. d4 gains space in the center and allows the dark squared bishop to develop. bg4 develops the bishop and pins the knight on f3. A pawn kicks the opposing knight, forcing it to move or risk being captured. The knight is thus brought to safety. This moves the bishop to a better location, allowing it to control more squares. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be challenged by opposing pawns as it tries to promote. This connects the rooks, which helps them coordinate together in the future. This develops a knight from its starting square, activating it. It is the final book action. That pawn was free for the taking. It is best. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. This misses an opportunity to centralize a knight so it controls more squares. It is a mistake. This overlooks an opportunity to kick a bishop. It is an inaccuracy. Very precise. It is best. This kicks an opposing bishop. It is best. Balanced, neither player ever had an advantage. That game was pretty competitive. Both players had an amazing opening. That was an incredible middle game by both players. This moves the bishop to safety. It is best. Balanced, neither player ever had an advantage. That game was pretty competitive. Both players had an amazing opening. That was an incredible middle game by both players.